What if I told you that in some parts of America, installing a battery without solar panels could actually be financially viable, and in a few specific programs, even profitable? I know that sounds backwards, but stick with me because what I'm about to show you challenges everything you've been told about home batteries. Hey everyone, welcome back to Integrate Sun. Today we're tackling a question that most solar companies would never discuss for obvious reasons. But here's the thing, the rules have changed, and in certain zip codes with specific programs, standalone batteries are becoming viable assets. Let me show you what I mean. The Inflation Reduction Act made standalone batteries eligible for the 30% federal tax credit back in 2023. No solar required, but, and this is critical, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed July 4th, 2025 ends the residential tax credit on December 31st, 2025. That's 41 days from today. After December 31st, if you're buying a battery as a homeowner, you lose that 30% credit instantly. On a $15,000 Powerwall, that's $4,500 gone. Now, leased systems might still qualify under commercial rules, but for homeowner purchases, the window is closing fast. But here's where it gets interesting. Certain states have programs that can make batteries work financially, even without solar. Let's talk about Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut's ConnectedSolutions program. In Massachusetts, they're paying around $185 to $225 per kilowatt for summer performance, not the inflated numbers you might see elsewhere. For two Powerwalls that can discharge about 10 kilowatts, you're looking at roughly $1,850 to $2,250 per year. Over 5 years, that's $9,000 to $11,000. What about when you have two Powerwalls installed? Well, that's about $30,000. After the 30% credit, if you get them installed before December 31st, you're at $21,000. Subtract the ConnectedSolutions payments, and your net cost is around $10,000 to $12,000 for whole home backup. That's not basically free, but it's a significant offset. And here's an interesting technical point. Batteries without solar can sometimes earn slightly higher performance payments because they're always at full charge for grid events, but the difference is marginal, not game-changing. For business owners, the economics are different. Commercial demand charges can be 30% to 70% of monthly bills. Fort Carson in Colorado, this is documented, installed an 8.5 megawatt-hour battery system without solar. It saves them $600,000 annually on demand charges alone. The battery charges at night when rates are low, then reduces their peak demand during the day. Here's the key. Solar wouldn't improve these savings. The value comes entirely from the battery's ability to reduce that 15-minute peak demand window. For the roughly 5 million commercial customers nationwide with high demand charges, a standalone battery can make sense purely for demand reduction. Let's be realistic about residential time of use arbitrage. In California, you might see a 30-cent spread between off-peak and peak rates. A Powerwall holds 13.5 kilowatt hours. Theoretically, that's $4 per day. But here's the reality. You lose 10 to 15% to efficiency. Batteries degrade over time. And most importantly, your warranty might be limited if you're cycling daily for arbitrage without solar. The Powerwall warranty, for example, has different terms for standalone arbitrage versus solar self-consumption. Pure arbitrage alone usually doesn't pencil out. What makes the difference is virtual power plants. Virtual power plants are real and they're growing. Your utility or companies like Tesla aggregate thousands of batteries to act as grid resources. California's DSGS program pays $2 per kilowatt hour during emergency events, but these might only happen 5 to 10 times per summer. Texas's ADER pilot lets batteries bid into wholesale markets, but returns are volatile. In a good year, you might make $1,000 to $1,500. In a bad year, maybe $200. The key insight is that standalone batteries can be good VPP assets because they're not divided between storing solar and serving the grid. But let's be clear, VPP payments alone rarely justify the investment. They're supplemental income, not a primary return. Many people consider batteries for backup, not savings. So how do they compare to generators? Well, for upfront, generator wins at $12,000 to $15,000 installed versus $30,000 for comparable battery capacity. But 20-year total cost tells a different story. Generators need oil changes every 200 hours, annual maintenance, eventual rebuilds. Total, $25,000 to $35,000. Batteries after tax credits, if you buy before December 31st. Net $21,000, potentially less with utility programs. They're silent, emission-free, and maintenance-free. The downside? 24 to 48-hour runtime versus unlimited with natural gas. So does a battery without solar make sense? Here's the truth by region: Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut with ConnectedSolutions. Yes, if you value backup power. The program payments significantly offset costs, though it's not free money. California or Texas with VPPs. Maybe if you need backup and can layer incentives, don't expect to profit. What about commercial properties with demand charges of over $20 per kilowatt? Well, often yes, but purely for demand reduction. Everywhere else in the country? Probably not. Without special programs, you're better off with solar first, or a generator for pure backup. So here's what matters. You have 41 days left to claim the 30% federal tax credit on any battery system. Click below for our standalone battery assessment. We'll calculate your actual utility rates, available programs, and show you 3 scenarios: battery alone, and solar plus battery. Real numbers, not hype. Remember? After December 31st, these systems get thousands more expensive. Even if you're just thinking about it, get the assessment now while you still have options.